Hi everybody, my name is Alvin Garza. Today I'll be going over the cultural approach to organizations. This is chapter 19 in the book, so if you'd like to find out some more information, it is page 244 in the book. Going on to my own interpretation of the theory, Geertz and Pacanowsky described the organization as having their own culture. This, which means any organization will have its certain culture where different meanings and different things are discussed between its members or its employees. Corporate culture is the environment that surrounds the company. The corporate culture is comprised of the company's character. It's also influenced by its image and its climate. A person can better understand the culture by the use of its different stories. These stories are used to convey the messages the company wants to share with its employees. The three different types of stories that are told between the members and its employees are corporate stories, personal stories, and collegial stories. Personal stories are personal accounts of the employees which they share so that way they can be seen in a more likable sense or likable manner. Collegial stories can be positive or negative stories that the employees tell about each other. Uh, and going on, that was my interpretation of the theory. Now, Geertz and Pacanowsky. Geertz is a theorist by trade who said humans are living in webs that they have spun themselves, and culture is those webs. So it is also the shared meaning and understanding, and this is what we find in the webs. Pacanowsky, in turn, applies Geertz's theory to the organizations by saying we need to understand the web and the spinning process. Pacanowsky says that communication is used to spin these webs. For Geertz and Pacanowsky, a culture is not something an organization can have. A culture is what an organization is. It's its own entity. It's its own living, breathing human being almost. When talking about the spider webs in the book Griffin in 2006, Pacanowsky says that there are three different types of webs, which we just talked about. And these different types of webs, stories, shape the organization to what we know it to be, to what we see it. Now, the different types of stories are the corporate stories, personal stories, and collegial stories. Going on to corporate stories, now these are stories that like I said, can reinforce the company's policy, and these are stories that many just show what the company is really about, that this is what the company is saying. This is coming straight from the head honcho themselves. These are tales that come from management and their ideology about the company. Personal stories. These are stories that employees tell about themselves, often about how they like to be seen within the organization. Now, if you guys have ever seen the show The Office, which is on NBC, you've witnessed Dwight Schrute. Now, he's one of the funniest characters on there. He's a different character, might I say. And this show, they have camera interviews with the employees. And in the interviews, Dwight is mainly pretty much always talking about how such of a great employee he is, how he deserves all these other recognitions because he does this, he does that, and he's always talking about himself, so that way he's seen in a liking, but we know to be otherwise because we see everything else. Now, attaching that to collegial stories, you'll see also in the TV show Jim and Pam. And now also in these interviews, you'll see Jim and Pam not so much talk negatively about him, but you'll see them talk about how Dwight doesn't have social awareness. He lacks a basic social awareness. Now, since these tales aren't usually sanctioned by management, collegial accounts convey how the organization really works. So by Jim and Pam telling the camera in the interview that this is what we think Dwight does, and you'll see it from a different point of view other than Dwight's personal account. So by Jim and Pam telling us all this, we see a different side in how it really is inside the company. Um, Going on to like an overview or an overall, you'll see that culture approach to organizations are definitely by Geertz and Pacanowsky. If you don't know who they are, when you're reading culture approach to organizations, then you're reading the wrong chapter. Between the two of them, you'll see that there is a simple approach and that people use webs. And you'll definitely hear about them talking about webs and how the webs really describe what a corporate culture is like. And that they also say that people use webs and they spin in and of themselves in order to understand the culture in the organization. Like Panikowski said, we have to understand the web and how it's being spun and what that means. That about wraps up the theory, guys. This was Culture Approach to Organizations. Thank you.